What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Boundless Perception YouTube channel. And today we're back and we're going to talk about is bigger better? What does that mean? Well, are props bigger when they're better? Are 3D printers bigger and better? Is bigger just overall better when it comes to 3D printing cosplay items? So that's what we're going to discuss today. So let's hop into it. So as you saw, the name of today's episode is Bigger Better. What do I mean by that? So there's a few things I want to cover. And first I'm going to talk about actual props, like is bigger better. So I have a few here lined up on the table. You guys have seen all of this. We have Miss Fortune's Blunderbuss. This is a new one I'm going to be talking about. And then we have Bakugou's grenade arms. So let's first talk about Miss Fortune's Blunderbuss. This is broken into 3 sections. These were printed on my CR10s. And I printed this, take note of this, in 3 sections instead of as one for multiple reasons. And the first being because it's much easier to print this as 3 pieces. So let's say this piece is missing, the whole middle and the handle is missing and all we have is this front cone. I printed that right there without any supports. So that right there will save you material and time. So I was able to print this whole base right here without any supports. So that's one reason why we break things up when we're printing large items. A second reason that we broke this up, and probably one of the ones that's the most frustrating and the most annoying, is failed prints. All the time, well not all the time, sometimes, random things happen when you print. I mean, you could literally have one 24-hour print go flawlessly, nothing wrong, bam, everything gets done. And then all of a sudden, your next print, something randomly happens, the printer just goes on strike, and all the printers unionize, and they all just break down. For some reason, I don't know why it happens. So, if I were to print this entire thing as one piece, I think it would fit on my CR10 bed. I have to check, I'm not exactly sure. But let's just say, for argument purposes that it did. Let's say we got all the way up to here, like right here. And the printer had a problem. I don't know, the filament got jammed. I don't know, the print head knocked over the bottom piece. That has happened before. I don't know, random things happen. That means now you have wasted all of this filament along with the support that's gonna be building up, and you didn't get the print finished. So that means from like here on up, you have no print. There are multiple ways to fix this, which are kind of annoying. It takes a little bit of guesswork. And I'll just be honest, it's never as good as the original. So that's another major reason why I don't like to print things that are large as one piece, because of the potential for failed prints. And again, filament is not crazy expensive. What you really miss is the time. Some of these prints, like this right here, was I think like a 2-day print or something like that. And I have had it happen. That's how I've learned my lesson, that on large prints, it could get to 98%, 75%, 88%, and then fail. And then you have to start all over. That is a royal pain. So that's one major reason that I do not print things that are large as one piece. If we jump over here to Bakugou's grenade arm, this was printed in 4 pieces, because it does not all fit on the CR10 as one piece. And well, after I scaled it up to fit in my body, it doesn't all fit. And once again, the same reasons I mentioned for the Miss Fortune gun, that's the same reasons we did not print this all as one piece. So that's something you definitely have to keep in mind. The next one, in terms of printing large 3D printed items, is which printer you're going to get. So as I was saying, the Ender 3 was my very first 3D printer, and it has a build print volume of, hold on, let me check again, 220 by 220 by 250. So anything obviously larger than that will not work. I think the CR10 is 300 by 300 by 400. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's exactly what it is. So the CR10 versus the Ender 3. I love the Ender 3. I've had a lot less problems with my Ender 3. I don't know if it's just because of the build, volume, size, the material that went into it. I don't know. But my Ender 3, I will hit print on that and just walk away knowing that it's going to do well. My CR10s, I have to watch the first level go down. And I have had more layer skips or layer jumps or whatever, along with just random things like happening with the Bowden tube. Just random things happen on my CR10, and I literally print it again after the failed print and it doesn't happen. So I don't know, but anyways, I digress. The CR10 is great, of course, for larger items, but I would say that it has a much steeper learning curve than the Ender 3. It's a little bit slower, and it's just, I don't know, it acts a lot different. It's weirder than the Ender 3. The Ender 3, I feel, is more reliable. Again, this is just off of my personal experience. It's more reliable for printing things in pieces. So let's take this here. This is a new item, by the way, I'm gonna be adding to my Etsy store. This is Death the Kid's gun. I was able to print this entire thing in one piece on my Ender 3. It's like the normal size of a handgun, you know, nothing special to it. Just a very nice piece, if I do say. But this was printed on my Ender 3 as one piece. I did print it like this, so support was required all through here because your printers can't print in open space. I love the way it came out. Now, let's say I wanted to slice this in two, which I'm probably gonna be doing, slicing it right down the middle and then gluing the sides together like I do for my Jinx gun. For that, I would probably need a CR10 because I couldn't place both sides on the actual print bed. Now, the time I think is gonna be the same. So let's say, let me backtrack. If I cut this in half and I print one piece on my Ender 3, it finishes, print another piece on Ender 3, they take the same amount of time, you know, to print, I glue them together, no problems. But the problem is I have to be there for when one print finishes, take it off, and start the next print. Whereas with my CR10, if I know I'm gonna be away for the weekend, I'm going to sleep, like say I start this print 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I know it's gonna take 12 hours, 18 hours to finish, I can go to sleep and I know it'll still be printing because the bed is large enough to hold both pieces. So there's pros and cons to each one. I would say that if I'm going to print something that takes a large amount of time, not necessarily if it's just a large piece, a large amount of time, I would print it most likely on my CR10, and that's just because I'm kind of lazy and I don't want to go back and hit print again and pry it off, and I don't want to do all that. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to 3D printing. So I'm going to slice it in two, put it on there, make sure the first layer is good, and walk away. The proper way to probably do it though is with the Ender 3, slice it in half, make sure the first one printed, pry it off, start your next print. But that's just really more of a personal preference than it is an actual, you know, 3D printing thing or whatever. So that's just something else to keep in mind if you guys do plan on getting 3D printers. I have currently only printed with PLA. I haven't touched PETG yet or any of the other filament types. Right now I'm still just trying to master PLA. That's taking a while, but I'm pretty sure I've gotten the hang of it. I haven't had any major errors like in a few months, you know, knock on wood. I don't know if there's any wood around here, but knock on whatever this is. So that's what I would say. Last but not least, I would just say take into account your personal preferences and the way that you function. Kind of going off of the last tip, just understanding how you function. If you don't mind, you know, just restarting a print that failed at 90% or something and it was large, go with the CR10, and you know, bigger is better in that situation. That goes for you. If you don't like doing that, then I would say stick to the smaller printer and go with smaller being better because it's a lot less time wasted and a lot less material wasted. Again, that's just the experiences I have been having when it comes to 3D printing large items. As you guys know, as you can probably see, I have some large props over there in the corner, and those were printed actually on the CR10, but they gave me a lot of problems. I had a lot of failed prints, and that was in the beginning stages, and I lost a lot of filament. I made a lot of mistakes on my Ender 3. It didn't cost me as much filament because they were much smaller mistakes. So that's just something else to take into account. But I would say overall, that's the real big differences I've had between the printers. Not much else has, you know, really been that different between them. So hopefully that helps you guys decide if bigger is better when it comes to 3D printing. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide which printer you want and whether you want a big one or a small one. Anyways, that's enough ranting for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. A few quick ideas or tips and things to consider when printing large 3D props and getting a 3D printer, a large or a small one. Anyways though, thank you guys so much for checking out this episode. And as always, stay boundless. See you guys. Bye-bye.